Welcome to the Cranky Old Anglers podcast with me, co-host Mark, to the great Lyle Stokes. How you doing, Lyle?
Doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. Hey, before we start the show, folks, if you're in here listening, I would appreciate positive thoughts, prayers, whatever you feel more comfortable with. For a very dear friend of ours, they have their really loved pet that just had a medical emergency, is in the animal vet. I just got a text, so keep them in their thought. Keep this person's pet and their and them in your thoughts and prayers, and they greatly appreciate it. It's somebody that's, like I said, really near and dear to both me and Lyle, and we hate to see anything make them sad or feel misplaced in this life. So
that is very true. And my daughter Heather's having some health issues too. So if you guys wouldn't mind keeping her in your thoughts and prayers, it'd be appreciated.
We could all use them too, and everybody else that's out there need them. So, Lyle, how was your Thanksgiving, bud?
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Day.
Did you have anything good to eat?
Not really. Just the normal stuff.
Since this is kind of an opinion show for us, and we're gonna be honest here. I
did have some really good pumpkin pie, which I tell you, pumpkin pie is something that I like a lot. But some people can do them and some people can't. I can name off 3 or 4 that can really do them really good. Cindy's mom made an outstanding pumpkin pie. She would make me one every year just for me. So when somebody asked me what I wanted for Christmas, I said, just make a pumpkin pie. I'll furnish the Cool Whip. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, I was going to say something about pumpkin pie, and I don't mind pumpkin pie, but this is how I eat it, and the only way I'll eat it. I'll take a slice of pumpkin pie and drop it into the Cool Whip bowl, and there you go. That's how I like my pumpkin pie, Lyle. I ain't going to kid you.
Well, you know, I never thought of that, but I have a friend of mine named Dennis Knoll, and we was talking about eating chips and salsa one night.
Okay.
And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm eating chips and salsa. He said, man, I love that. He said, how do you eat it? I said, well, I dip the chip in it and I eat it. He said, you're doing it wrong. I said, how do you eat chips and salsa? He said, you open the bag, you pour the salsa in there, get you a spoon and mash it all up and just eat it that way. I said, okay.
It's kind of like those walking tacos. Do you ever have one of them at like a fair or something, Lyle?
No.
It's a bag of Fritos. It's a bag of Fritos that cut open a long way, right? Yeah. Then I dump a bunch of chili in there and cheese and jalapenos and whatever toppings you want. Yeah. And you walk around eating it with a spoon. It's pretty darn good. I recommend you get one as soon as possible.
They call them Frito pies here.
Frito pies. Okay. Over here, they're called walking tacos. Indiana, they were called walking tacos. They're pretty good.
They're pretty tasty.
Mm-hmm. I ain't had a bad one yet.
No. The only way they couldn't make it bad unless the chili would. It'd be the only way. Hell, when's the last time you had a bowl of chili that wasn't good?
No, I've had some chili that wasn't good. It was burnt, but that's another story. That has to do with people who can't cook, like somebody we know. Speaking of somebody who can't cook, let me tell you about my Thanksgiving. All right, my father passed away in January, and the only reason why I bring that up again is because it has to do with this part of the story. And my mom my mom and dad, my mom would always do the holidays, obviously, because she had my dad there to help them. And this year she's like, I'm not doing it. One of you kids got to do it. And I'm thinking, oh, great, my sister's got to have one. That's gonna be bad. So she had Thanksgiving at her house, and we went there. And you know what? She did a great freaking job. I think she was lying the whole time about not being able to cook and the stuff she's made in the past. I think she wrecked it on purpose, but she did a fantastic job, I have to say. I don't think Lydia's listening, but if you did, way to go, kiddo. You did a good job. We had a pleasant Thanksgiving over there. We had, everything from turkey, stuffing, the normal stuff. And I got a turkey opinion too here we're going to add to that. Mac and cheese. She makes this hash brown potato type casserole. It's really good, and a bunch of other stuff. Sheila made a pumpkin cheesecake, which was fan-freaking-tastic.
Sounds really good.
She got together with her friend Bernadette, and they actually cooked a real pumpkin to put in there. They didn't mess around. They went old school on that.
Wow.
And they were a little light on the pumpkin, which was a good idea. And it was fantastic. And Lydia made her death by chocolate, which is a sin in a bowl, but it's good. We had a real good time. Got to see my nieces. My one niece has got a boyfriend she's getting pretty serious with. So it was nice to go over there and give him hell because he's got to pay the family tax once you're coming into the family. You know how that goes.
Right. That's part of the deal.
Yeah. So we did that and had a few cocktails on Thanksgiving. We had really good time. So I really felt blessed. It was kind of nice. So
yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you had a great time. It just, something we haven't talked about yet, and we probably need to touch on a little bit, is this weather. And I know that you're really having some great weather up your way. And
he only brought this up so he can rub it in, is what he said. Keep going, Lyle. Don't let me stop.
Well, it's 29 degrees here. It was up to 35, and I had probably 8 to 12 inches of snow on my truck because it blowed around, and what was on the top of it rolled back on the back of the truck, and I had to get a snow shovel out to try to get some of it off today. But 35 with the sun out today was not too shabby, and tomorrow it's only going to be 20. But I haven't been fishing in a few days. I'm really starting to Jones. But Friday 37, and next Wednesday, Mark, it's going to be 48, 49 degrees here. So I will probably be at the lake. I'll probably be there before then. The only reason that I haven't went yet is because I just had too much other things I had to do. And right now I'm wondering if the water's froze. If it's froze, you can't fish. I'm not going to. But if it's not froze, 20 degrees, if the winds ain't blowing, you can fish for 30 minutes and go to the truck and warm up a little bit and then go back and fish a little more.
All right. Back to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was fine. No big deal. Friday came around. The weather started turning south. It got kind of cold. But Saturday, all heck broke loose. And it snowed. And it snowed. And it snowed. And it snowed.
Yep.
We got 12 inches of snow.
We got around 8.
The lake. We got 12. Yeah, that's enough too.
Yeah.
We got 12 inches of snow by the time the storm was done. It started around noon on Saturday and snowed all the way through till about noon the next day.
Greg Burgess says, wow, I have dropped down to 52 degrees here. Finally warming up.
I take 52. Last week, yeah. We'll talk about that too. So that's, I get out there and I shovel all that snow off the patio and off my driveway. I got a wide driveway, so it's kind of horrible. Got that all done. And then it started snowing again, and it was snowing and snowing. We got like another 4 inches on top of that. So it's been rather snowy. Temperatures have been up in the upper 20s, which wasn't too bad. I'm getting kind of used to it in a hurry. But it's going to turn deathly cold tomorrow. Tomorrow, they're saying a low of -2. Here, let me take a look at this. Hold on here.
Wow,
-1 degree. They changed it with a high of 12. And then Saturday, it's warming up to 24 degrees, 28 degrees on Sunday, 21 degrees on I'm sorry, 28 on Saturday, 21 on Sunday, 20 on Monday. So, I mean, we've kind of fallen into that groove. 20s is probably about right. 20 isn't too bad. I was out today outside. I was doing some scouting on the farm because I've been trying to get on some deer. Found a couple good spots, but it was 28 degrees, 27 degrees, I think. And I was out there in just a hoodie and my muck boots and it was fine. It wasn't too bad. But then again, I was hiking all over the farm, so I was keeping pretty warm, so it wasn't too bad.
Well,
but I did find it
pretty hard.
Yeah, well, I'm not so much hunting as much as I've been scouting, trying to get, my ducks in a row. And if I'm not, like the last night, I didn't see anything on my trail cams, so it didn't make any sense to go out there and sit. So I figured I had to move a trail cam. I figured, well, the weather changed so drastically with that weather front coming in. I did a bunch of research. I picked brains from Matt, he's in chat, and I picked brains of Jerry Parker too, both from accomplished hunters. So they gave me some tips. I looked at a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff, and that explained a lot to me. And I did exactly what I was told by all of those resources. And I found some rubs. I found some places they've been browsing. Found a bunch of fresh deer poop. So on top of the snow, so I think got a good site. I relocated my trail cams, and if I see some deer and stuff in there, we will move the blind over, try to get it, hidden and wait it out. Tomorrow starts second gun season here in Illinois. So I'm in no big hurry to get out there, or maybe I should be. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to try and get out there either tomorrow or Friday and get that blind moved if I see deer on the camera during the day. I haven't seen any during the day at all since I started with those trail cams out there. So
right.
Hopefully we'll get it figured out. Like I say, it's been a learning experience, and I'm having a lot of fun. And Lyle, back to you checking to see if the water was your lakes were frozen for fishing. Well, I went by the river today, which is attached to the farm I'm hunting, and it's frozen already.
That's right. Patience is a key to deer hunting.
Yeah, patience is right. It's the same thing. And I'm kind of going after it like I do flathead fishing, learning where they eat, where they travel, and where they sleep for the most part. That's kind of what I'm learning is the key to that as well. So we'll see if it pans out this year. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm having a lot of fun. And since everything's already locking up over here, and with these cold temperatures coming, unless I'm going out there with an auger, my fishing's done for the year. I did want to get out onto Lake Michigan, do some perch fishing, but the city of Chicago doesn't know how to do their budget. So they closed all the boat ramps in the city at all the marinas for the season when they would keep a couple of them open normally. So I can't even get my boat out there without making a 20-mile run on Lake Michigan. And that ain't happened this time of year.
Yeah.
No.
That's just crazy. There was a comment in here that I seen, and now I can't find
this one. Mark Barnum says thought gun season was year round in Chicago. Well, that's a different kind of gun.
That's not the one I seen, but that's a good one. Something about rubbing deer poop on your face attracts deer or something.
I don't know. Ernie asked me if I tasted it to see if it was fresh, and I knew he was giving me the business, so I didn't quite do that.
Well, I don't see it. I don't know what happened to it, but
Ernie and Chrissy were both saying that Chrissy was picking on him for doing it. What do you say? Say hello to everybody in chat, Lyle.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, just so you guys know, we are broadcasting on two different streams, one in horizontal and one in vertical. So if you're on your phone, you can go to the Cranky Old Angler's main page and get the link to that one if you're better off watching it on your phone. So just a heads up, folks. We got a 922 Crappie Barbecue in the house. What's going on, man? There's Catfish with us. How you doing? Chrissy Brown in the house. How you doing, dear? There's the great Miss Cindy Stokes. How you doing, Cindy? Crappie Day, Fish On. What's going on, Crappie Day? What's up, Darren? Fish On, Jeff Beal. How you doing, Jeff? There's Greg Burgess with the balmy temperatures in the 50s down there in Louisiana. There's Heather Stokes. I hope you're feeling better real soon, Heather. Your dad was asking for prayers before you came in here, so we're all thinking about you. There's John Boy's catfishing in the house. There's Miss Lisa Swain, Catfish Lady. How you doing, Burrito? Mark Barnum in the house. What's up, Mark? There's Roll Up MT. I think that's I don't know who that is. Who is Roll Up Empty? Shout it out in the chat. There's Josh from the Weekend Angler. There's Matt from Want to Be Outdoors. Let's check the other stream here. In there. We got James, Shuggy Burger. So James, there's a James out there watching on his phone. Thanks for joining us, James. We appreciate you. There's a lot of people watching today. I love it. Oh, Guerrero. That's Guerrero. What's going on, Guerrero? Bagre, how you doing? What's going on, Guerrero? Guerrero Bagre in the house. There he is, the one and only.
I would have not known that if somebody hadn't said so.
I kind of noticed the avatar, but it threw me off. Forgive me, Guerrero.
Oh, the avatars are so small, I can't see them hardly.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So, yeah, the river is frozen pretty much on both sides. It's still open up in the middle. I don't ever even fish the main river. The channels I might get on if I was ice fishing still, but the main channels stay away, and I highly advise anybody who fishes any ice on water that has current, don't do it. Just don't do it. I know there's guys out there who have what do they call? What are the boats they use in Florida, Lyle? The fan boats.
Oh yeah.
The fan boats, they get out there, but if they're going through the ice, they're okay. Or there are also some guys I know who fish with those Argos. That would be a hot setup. You could do that, Lyle, and not be afraid.
When we had our duck lease up by Shell City, one of the guys in the lease had one of those 6-wheel jobs, or 8, or I think it's 6. And man, when you need to break up ice so the decoys could move out on the water, he just jump on that thing, run out in that pond and run around, and it didn't matter how deep the snow was, it'd go. You know, it was a pretty cool toy.
And if you go through, they float, so you're all right.
Yeah.
They got a winch on them too. So if you do go through, you can always get somebody to pull you out too. Just have them hook up that winch to somewhere that's going to get you out. So
thank you, Joe Buck. Number 36 months. So proud to have you on here.
So what's not as well. You know what's worse than all the snow I've been getting, Lyle?
What's that?
Having a wisdom tooth pulled at my age. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're no fun. But if it's gone, you're probably better off.
It was broken up into 6 pieces, so I had that done on Monday. So the snow wasn't so bad after that. So
right.
922 Crappie Barbecue says airboat only. Dang, that's why you getting me to ice fish. Period. Oh. You know, speaking of ice fishing, I would not hesitate getting out there in a nice heated side-by-side for sure. I'm not that afraid of falling through the ice. I've been on it enough not to worry about it. So a side-by-side with heat would be the ticket.
Yeah.
Matt says that's what they do in frozen ice fields here. Break up the water.
Yep. That's for sure.
Let me ask you this, Lyle. If there's ice on like a duck pond, the ducks don't go on it still, right? They just keep flying?
Usually by the time the ice hits in southwest Missouri, they're already ahead of the front and moving into Arkansas. But yeah, I've killed them with ice. The way I usually done it was if it froze up, you get out there and you'd break the ice up. We had a little John boat you could take out there as a 10-footer or something, break the ice around the decoys and just shove the ice with the paddle out of the way and make a hole. And what ducks are around, if you can get them to work, they'll fall right in that hole right in front of you and just kill the hell out of them.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to try. I've never been duck hunting. Maybe
dude.
Maybe
it's
some
very addictive. Very addictive.
I have a distant cousin who's a goose hunter, like a sponsored goose hunter. And before he went into the Navy, well, I don't know if he's in the Navy. He's a Navy SEAL. Before he went into service, he was real diehard goose hunter, and he was out every weekend around here. So he seemed to enjoy it quite a bit.
Oh, it is. It's too much fun. And we had a floating blind that we built in my shop. It had barrels underneath of it because we was on an irrigation lake with it. And the seats would raise up. You put all your stuff underneath there. It had 3 or 4 heaters in it and a place on each end for a dog to work off of. And it was pretty nice setup, you know, for some of these guys. They got like houses underground where they have a cook come in and do all. That's a little bit overboard for me. But this blind we had was in the middle. It was an irrigation lake in the middle of a cornfield, and there was a slough that run into it where water would drain out of it. But this irrigation lake, it had lots and lots of water in it, one shallow end, and you could move this blind around because it floated. But for the most part, we just set it right to the edge off of that slough. And man, and before, when early season, you get all the teal and wood ducks you want, and then when the big ducks started coming down, we get divers and mallards and all, you know, all the ducks just about that would come through the central flyway, and then the geese would come in. And then with that being a cornfield around it, them geese was just and we're 7 miles from Shell City Game Refuge. So when they come up off that refuge in the morning, it was just the right distance for them to take a little stroll before they stop to get something to eat, and they're looking for a place to rest, and there that pond was. It was pretty amazing. You just got one bad apple in our group that ruined it for everybody. That's the sad thing.
Oh, that's too bad. That'll happen.
Yeah.
That'll happen. People don't know what they don't know they have it good until they lose it. That's sure.
Right. That's right.
You know, we got a marsh right here down the street from my house, and there's no discharging of firearms in my suburb here, so it is what it is. So it's a safe haven for all the geese. Lyle, I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of geese fly into that place. I'm not even exaggerating. It's that much. And I got pictures of the condors that, well, it looks like a condor crapped on my truck, and I think it was those geese flying over. But man, they'll make a mess of things. But it's cool to wake up on a weekend morning and hear them, you know, outside, you know, quacking away or whatever you call it. Is it still called a quack when a goose doesn't honk or what?
No, it honks. It
honks. You hear them honking out there in the sky. It's pretty cool to see. I got a question for you, Lyle. A puzzle.
All right.
Why do geese and ducks fly in uneven V's?
Because one line's longer than the other one.
No, because they can't count.
Oh. You know, Mark, you're talking about ducks and geese. Several years ago, everybody's familiar with Branson. There's a little town right outside of Branson that's on Lake Taneycomo called Forsyth. And the goose population down there was so bad that people complained and bitched all the time because these geese and ducks too, but mostly geese, they would get in their boats and make nests and lay eggs. They would crap all over everything. People was just beside himself. And finally, the conservation department got with the city, and they went down there and they netted just tons of these things and put bans on them to entice people to come down there on Lake Taneycomo and kill them to get the bands, because that's like a trophy deer if you get a duck band. I've got a whole bunch of them someplace, but that was the only, people didn't want to go down there and hunt because it's so busy and populated with Branson and all that around there. But when they banned them, they got rid of a lot of them. But my God, if you try to walk there, you couldn't walk down the city sidewalk without stepping in goose crap. It was so bad. And people was putting poison out for them because they was getting in their boats and making nests and laying eggs and crapping all over the place. And, you know, $100 boats down there, you know, they didn't go for that.
You know,
they had to do something.
It's like that here. Like some of the park properties that I fish off of, Lyle, it's nothing but geese poop everywhere. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? But them geese, they get pretty protective, you know, at a certain part of the year, and they'll attack you. I've had to grab one by the neck because it was coming after me. We're not going to go into what happened after that. I could probably get in a lot of trouble, but I did grab it by its neck. So,
yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do, and I understand that, but like I say, if you want to try duck or goose hunting, get with somebody that goes a lot, and like I say, prepare yourself. You might as well just get out a credit card and hand it to someplace.
No, I ain't doing that. This hunting was a mistake. I'm enjoying it, but my bank account is enjoying it. That's for sure.
Or you just think deer hunting's expensive. You start buying dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of decoys, and them goose decoys, buddy, that set you on fire when you buy them.
Yeah, that's why that cousin of mine had a sponsorship. It was a decoy company that sponsored him, so he got all his decoys for nothing.
Yeah,
So he was in good shape with that.
I had over 100 dozen duck decoys at one time.
Oh my goodness,
100 dozen, yeah,
100 dozen.
100 dozen, just me. And there was 4 of us in this lease, but I had some really good decoys. And then my brother worked for a place called Green Supply, and they started handling some of the imported ones that was a little bit smaller, and they was about half price. So you'd mix some of the smaller ones in with the bigger ones. But them birds can see them decoys from miles away. I mean, they really can. And they can, when you're calling at them, they can hear them a lot further than you realize they can hear them.
I think I'm going to go on a guided duck hunt. That sounds like it'd be a little cheaper than having to buy all that stuff.
Bugman says, why is this chat not working? It looks to me like it is.
Reload it, Buggy. Reload it. Guerrero says that Hurricane Marsh here in Wisconsin, they are filled with geese. They are still moving out.
Yeah. Yes, Heather, I do have my Cardinal shirt on.
Hey, there's my buddy. How you doing, Nubby? What's going on? I saw a comment here from Ernie I wanted to highlight.
I had so many decoys, but man, I tell you what, when the birds is hard to work, numbers is very important, because they will make them ones that's up in the air think that there's a whole bunch of them down there, and a lot of times that'll bring them in.
Now, do they think they are all down there because there's a lot of food to eat? Is that what it is, or is it safety, you think, or both?
Numbers is for safety.
Safety? Okay.
Yeah, numbers is for safety. When you got, we walked on this irrigation lake. My oldest son and I went up there one day, and it was cold. It was like 0, and I knew the lake would be froze, and we was going to have to bust the ice off to make the decoys wobble in the wind. And we walked up over the bank, and there was probably 300 Canadian geese sitting on there. They'd been there so long it was melted out divots in the ice. And it was froze all the way across, and we was trying to figure out how to get to where we could shoot them when they flew up, because we knew he was going to scare them. And my old dog, he took it as long as he could stand it. he run out there on the ice and run them off before we got a chance. But they come in there at night, and I was outside the other night, and I could hear snow geese flying at night, and they was low, so they was looking for a place to go down. But they can see at night. I don't know. They got a sense that they know where danger is at. They know where it's not. And if you don't have your duck blind or boat or however you're hunting camoed up to match the environment around you, you're probably not going to be very successful, because they notice and anything that's shiny, they ain't coming in. If you got anything that's shiny, they're not coming in. Yeah.
Well, you see those duck commander guys get all painted up and everything ready to go. They ain't joking around either.
Well, when you get the sunshine on your face, they can see the glare off of it from up in the air. And glasses are the same way. I could never hunt with glasses on. You could always get glasses all the time.
Maybe some tinted ones, because they do make them now in like a flat black tint. You could probably get those.
Yeah, that probably work. But in my day, we didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah, Ernie says Mark knows if the stuff is fresh. See, I told you he tried to get me to taste the poop. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. And Chrissy says those geese can be vicious, 100%. Let's say hello to Chrissy. She just came in here, I think. Nubby's in here. What's going on, Nubby? How you doing? Catch fish with us. I don't know if I said hello to you, but hello. John Boy's Catfish, and I did say hello. We'll say hello again. Kind of looking through to see if we missed Bugman. How you doing, Buggy? Chatty says chat isn't working. Reload again. Ernie says Mark has some cool cameras. What did I got? I bought some of the Well, here's a quick story. I bought some muddy cameras. We're doing our honest opinion.
Wait. You bought stuff online without me?
Yeah, because I know what you're going to do. I've been looking at rifles. You think I'm going to ask you to come look at rifles with me? No.
I know a little bit about guns.
Well, we can talk after the show, maybe. We can talk after the show. Ernie says Mark has some cool cameras. Here's the story. I bought some cameras from Muddy, Go Muddy, I believe is the website. And I got the cameras and they were just garbage. They wouldn't set up, nothing. The one of them froze up on me, so I returned them right away. And I asked on one of the forums on Facebook what to buy, and the consensus was to get the Tacticams. So I got a couple of those Tacticams up there, which is good because the monthly service, because they're cell phone cameras, I get the pictures to my telephone, was a heck of a lot cheaper than even the Muddy ones, the Go Muddy cameras were. So I got those set up, and yeah, they work pretty good. Then we actually busted a trespasser out on my buddy's farm with them, so that was kind of cool. Turned out it was a cousin of his, so a cousin's fiance, but it was cool to know he was out there. So
right. Greg Burgess says, "Lyle, we're not prepared for the weather like you guys. I have lost some friends when the bad fronts come through. It's better now with the new technology for weather." Yeah, I tell you, Greg, I still contend that that's the only job in the world that you can be overpaid for, be wrong every day, and get a check on Friday. I swear to God, I should have went to weather forecasting school when I was young.
You know, Ryan Hall, y'all said this was going to be a bad winter, and I'm starting to believe him more and more.
So far, he's spot on.
Spot on. Ernie says, Mark, I'll get the name of a shop. Check it out before you buy a rifle. See, why does everybody want to spend my money, Lyle? What have you started?
Me, it's Dockery.
Oh, okay. Dockery wants to spend your money. There's Dan Thompson. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, Dan.
Dan's another guy who invited me to come down on his property and do some hunting. I should have thought about it before I got into it because he is in Illinois. That's another thing I wanted to say. You know, I was talking to Jerry Parker, and he used to be a diehard hunter. He used to hunt like probably harder than he catfishes now, which is pretty hardcore. And he was telling me all the places he used to go hunting and all the stuff he used to do. And, you know, when you're paying $300 a state just for a license, it can add up in a hurry.
Yeah.
Big hurry. That's a little steep, but I guess, you know, you got to pay to play though, right? Here in Illinois, what did I pay? I paid $17 for a hunting license. I paid $27 for two tags, one antlerless and one either sex. So I'm good there. But other than that, you know, I don't know if I'm going to drive all the way out to Missouri to go hunt on Danny's property. He invited me out there too. That'll cost me like $500 for a deer. I don't know if it's worth all that at this point.
The Missouri Department of Conservation takes credit cards.
See, and look at that. And Ernie says, Mark, your room is still here. He's inviting me down there too. I'm always in awe with all the
Colorado a few times hunting, and the first time I went to Colorado, you bought a mule deer tag or deer tag, mule deer or whitetail, either one, but there's no whitetails in the mountains, was where I was at. But deer tag was $150 and an elk tag was $200. And the last time I knew, the mule deer tag was $800 and the elk tag was $1,200. It didn't make no sense to me in those days to go out there and not buy both tags, because you might be up in the mountains and not see an elk and you have mule deer around you, or vice versa. But at them prices, I actually wonder if they're still having as many people go out there and hunt as they used to, because that's ridiculous. When you figure up the cost it takes to go out there, and I took a 32-foot gooseneck horse trailer with 4 horses in it and enough stuff to stay for 2 weeks, because by the time you got there and you hadn't been there all year, you got to go scout around and look around, and you're camping and staying out. And we went the first season, and in Colorado, the first season started on a Monday and went through Thursday or Friday. It was 5 days. And then you had a little break, and then the second season started, and you only get to hunt one season, so you got to pick the one you want. Now, the third season, it was like 2 weeks, but hell, by then they done got everything scared up, and harder to get them. So I like the first season.
But elk I can understand, or even mule deer. We don't have them here. Whitetail, we got whitetail everywhere around here. You know what I mean? It's not something I need to travel to go shoot. If I want to go get an elk, obviously you got to go and go to a state that has elk. That I can understand. So it is what it is. Let's see what here. Catchfish with us says lottery drawings for tags is a deceiving name. You definitely
Yes,
don't win. It costs a fortune if you are drawn. Speaking of that, the land that's adjacent, actually the land that surrounds the property I'm hunting, Lyle, is all McHenry County conservation land. And in order to hunt that, you got to get into a lottery. And if you win, you got to pay the $300 in addition to your hunting license and
right.
all that other cost just to hunt there. And I mean, it is what it is. Would I pay that much? No, because I have access to the land that's just adjacent to it. So it is what it is.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is hunting a paid to hunt place the same as fishing pay lakes?
Yes. I think high fence place. Well, it depends, Lyle. If you're okay, we're getting into the
trying to stir the pot here a little bit.
All right, here we go. Now, if you're in Texas, right, Lyle, and you're doing a pay to hunt place, a high fence place, but that place is 100,000 acres. Is it really a high fence place? There's the question for you.
Well, a lot of them are. A lot of them have 10-foot fences around them or 12.
But it's 100,000 acres, Lyle.
That's true. That's true. And a lot of them have exotic stuff where they import things in there so they can really stick in your ass before you go down there and hunt. And if you kill the wrong thing, oh my God. If you can't look at a deer in one of those places and say, okay, that deer is 130 inch deer, or that one's a 200-inch deer. If they have a 210-inch deer down there, it's going to cost you $6,000 or $8,000 if you kill that deer. And if you kill the wrong one, you pay the price. You make up the difference. So, and their guys are farming antler deer. They're buying bucks to breed their does to get the larger antlers. And let's face it, if you've been down there, their deer down there ain't very big. You can pack them with one hand, but they got great big racks on them because they're breeding.
Yeah, they're breeding
with genetics to make them have bigger antlers. Now, is that fair to the guys that hunt farm ground in Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana and Ohio that naturally grow giant deer? I do not think it's fair to those guys. They shouldn't be able, if they're raised on a farm and they're breeding those deer, that shouldn't count in the record books the same as the ones that are naturally grown out in the wild.
In my old age, one thing that I have definitely learned is that there's nothing fair in life. Nothing whatsoever. Now, there's people that got good water to fish, and there's people that got hard water to fish. It doesn't mean that one's not fair or one's fair and one's not fair. It just is what it is. Once you start looking at things like that, life is a little, those pills are a little easier to swallow, so to speak. So it is what it is. Would I want to pay $6,000 to hunt a wall hanger? No, I would not. But is it considered hunting on a 100,000 acre ranch? I would consider it hunting, but it's hunting that you're paying dearly to do. I mean, the price tag might be difference between that and having a hunting lease. Like down here in Illinois, there's a ton of hunting leases you can get. You can pay anywhere I've seen like between $500 and $5,000 depending on the property and the size of it. It's pretty much the same thing minus the fences, if you ask me. So
well, I will tell you, I see a time in the future, and I may not live to see it, but it's coming faster than you think, to where anybody that owns property, if you want to hunt, you will pay to hunt it. The days of just saying, hey, buddy, I need a place to deer hunt. Can I come out to your farm and throw a stand up in a tree? Them days are almost gone now. You really got to be tight with somebody to get a place to hunt anymore. And public ground hunting is very difficult. It's not that you can't kill stuff, but finding the one you're looking for and then hunting it without somebody walking in on you and running it off or something ignorant happen. So yeah, private property thing is just your buddy having land. That's just about a thing of the past.
I really don't have a problem with like public hunting, even if I wouldn't kill anything. It's just like public fishing. It is what it is. My problem with like public hunting is having to deal with all the jerks that think they own the property that they don't, that they're hunting. Because you absolutely don't. You don't own the spot you're fishing, even though you were there first. I don't care what you say. It just is what it is. And once you start getting into those kind of confrontations, that's when it makes things not very pleasurable, which is the only reason why I fish and I'm starting to hunt. So What did Ernie say?
I don't know, but Troy says, "Wow, keep Mark tied up talking. We're wearing him out on Facebook chat."
I'm not even looking at Facebook chat. I know better than that.
I'm afraid to. See, Jody's made it in. Welcome, Jody.
Hey, what's up, Chef Jody? How you doing?
Yep, Jody. All right.
Matt says, I've hunted elk outside of Fort Carson in Colorado. It was a blast. I've hunted 20 different states in some sketchy areas.
I love Colorado. We had horses, and I'd take that horse trailer out there, and it had living quarters in it where you could have stayed in it, but we packed in 14 miles on horseback with tents, with a wood stove in the tent, and stayed, most of the time around 10 days or so, because by the time you drive out there and drive back, it's 2 or 3, 4 days. And then we stayed at my buddy Jack's friend's house. It was a guide out there, and he'd always help us find the right spot to go and set up camp and everything. And he's a really cool dude. And Steve worked in a plutonium mine through the summer and guided elk and mule deer trips in the winter, and he knew all the spots and told us where to go and what to look for, which made it pretty handy. But him and Jack went to school together. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the most fun about it wasn't killing stuff. It was on the horseback riding through the mountains and things that you see that you'll never see any other way. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that does definitely sound terrific. Oh, I just got notifications. I got pictures coming in already for my trail cams. Rock and roll, right on.
Hey, cool things.
Matt says lotteries are ways for DNR to make money. True.
That's
I mean, they gotta pay their salaries and buy their equipment. And Josh brings up a valid point. He says high fences don't steal trophy deer from public land.
That's true. They do not.
True.
He is 100% correct on that. They raise them. Most of them raise their own. And I can't. Keith, what's his name? Keith something. Or used to have an outdoor show. I was big into raising deer. And they pay big money for them big horned deer that they want to use as breeders. I mean, them things, they cost a shit ton of money.
I see a little two-pronged buck. It's going down. I'm not looking for anything for my first deer.
You're wanting the first kill, and you're going to eat it, and that's outstanding. When you get to the point where you're hunt trophies, is the fun leaves. As far as just going out and hunting to enjoy the hunt, when you're trophy hunting, it becomes a job. It really does, and you have to work at it. But I just like to. Yeah, I was.
Nubby says, was that when you were on the Oregon Trail, Mr. Lyle? At least he said Mr. when he insulted
you. We used to go out there and we go over the Eisenhower Tunnel, and I don't remember the name of the town. I used to know all of them. You go down the Eisenhower Tunnel, you go down the mountain, and the first town, turn right there and go up about 30 miles, and there was a big lake up there, and the mountains just went forever. And we'd go up to the trailhead. I'd have to park my truck and horse trailer down at the bottom and ride up to the trailhead and take the horses and lead them up there. And Mark and Jack would get in Jack's little Dakota 4-wheel drive, and they'd drive up there and wait for me, and then we'd go in and set up. But Jack didn't ride horses, so he walked everywhere we went. And hey, looky there. That's what you're looking for.
That's the first buck I've seen in 2 weeks. Look at that. It's a little prong one, but hey, it's right there in front of my camera. Hello.
What is it they say? If it's brown, it's down.
If it's brown, it's down. That's my motto for this year.
Matt says the same
thing. Matt says, yes, it's still a high fence place. He's talking about the huge one. So
yeah, I something that I really wanted to do and never had the opportunity was wild hogs. But back when I wanted to do that, there wasn't any in Missouri. And when the feed got so high and the price of hogs dropped out, and all them farmers in a lot of states, not just Missouri, they just let them run off and they become wild. And there is tons and tons of them everywhere now. And it wouldn't be hard to get, but if you've ever butchered one of them, it's a lot easier to take them to a locker plant.
I've like I've said in the past, my uncle was a butcher for Eckridge of all places, and we would have a hog roast every summer, and he taught me how to butcher one of them, so I don't think I'd have any problem with it.
Probably not.
I think it'd be good. Chrissy says, if you lease the land to hunt, no. If you go to a place where they open a crate and the animal walks out and you harvest it, then yes. Well, no, I would not consider that actual hunting. That's no different than buying a steak at the store, to be honest with you.
Not much, except you get to get the gun off.
Yeah, and Ernie says that ranch stuff is for the rich, 100%. You know, and back to how you were saying with the duck blinds, I was just watching a duck hunting show on YouTube, and they had a two-story. This was down in Arkansas or Mississippi. Forgive me, I don't recall. But it was a two-story duck blind, and the first story was nothing but like a gourmet kitchen they were cooking for them while they were up shooting ducks at the top. Talk about can't hide money there. That's for sure.
The Magruder boys was up at Eolia's got one that's underground. You stand up in it and shoot the ducks out of it, and they have an area underground, and they have a chef come in there and fix meals for them.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Catchfish with us says high fence places manipulate genetics to create trophies. It's not sporting.
It's not natural.
There's Solo. I saw Paul Boyd come in here too. What's up, Paul? He says, hi, Cranky Lyle and Grumpy Mark. I think this name change is taking off, Lyle. What do you think?
I think so. We haven't really got on subject tonight at all.
Yeah, well, we're talking our mind. We can do part 2 to this show next week because we're already 46 minutes into this, but we're having a good time. That's all that matters. I think the people in chat are too. Mark Barnum says, I was a magazine vendor in the early 90s in Colorado. Those hunters bought so many poor magazines they couldn't keep the shelves stocked.
I'll bet that's right.
And Matt says, you pay for the lease of production they would have gotten out of that deer. Okay.
The loss of production.
Of production they'd have gotten out of that deer.
Yeah. I miss duck and goose hunting a lot. I miss deer hunting a lot, but I just can't do it anymore. And it's not that I couldn't go out and find a place and set up a deer stand and hunt, because I like to hunt up in the air. The higher, the better. But I can't get them in and out anymore. And so many places you can't even take a four-wheeler or an ATV and go in and drag them out. You got to drag them out by hand. And I cannot do that anymore. I just can't do it. The last one I pulled out, it like to kill me, and that was 10 years ago or more.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough that on this property I have access to 2 Bobcats side by sides, an end loader, my truck. We're in good shape. The owner's pretty much like, yeah, just give me a text. I'll meet you out there. We'll haul that sucker back to my barn and we'll get her skinned out for it. So I'm blessed for sure. Lance McCougai, what's going on, Lance? He says, funniest rifle I've ever had was a 54 caliber black powder rifle. Never heard of a 54 caliber, but it is black powder.
Yeah. Yep.
Hello, Lyle in the Fizzler. I don't know what Fizzler means, but okay.
I don't know. And I'm not going to ask her either. She'll probably tell us.
High fence isn't free range, no matter how many acres of fences. I never said it was free range. We were just talking of whether or not it was hunting or not. You know, that brings up another point. We're talking about high fence. What about, the latest 3 episodes of the Meat Eater show on YouTube here? He was in Africa hunting.
Right.
And he always said that he didn't consider that hunting. He had no interest in going there to hunt. And I imagine that, in his older age, he's my age. He's 55, I believe.
Is he that old, really?
Yeah, he is. That's not old. Piss off.
I didn't think he was that old. I thought he was like in his 30s.
No. He's 55. He's my age. He's actually older than me by a couple of months, believe it or not.
Wow.
Oh, Jody says, I'm sorry, Lyle and Mark, it was a typo.
Sure it was. I enjoy hunting a lot. But to tell you the truth, I've been really enjoying this crappie fishing this fall. It's just been awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too, definitely. Well, real quick, and he went to Africa, and it turns out like there was a he definitely changed his opinion on the whole deal. It's a different animal out there, and it's something that you probably, if you're a avid outdoorsman, would want to live through. It'd be the same way of like going down and hiring a guy to take you red tail catfishing. Wow.
Lifelong dream, man.
Well, there you go. So
Lifelong
don't
dream. I'd love to go, be able to go to Brazil and go out and catch me a red tail. Something about them. I guess it's because we don't have them here. Now, I do understand they have imported some into Florida, but it's like peacock bass. They're not getting the size they do down there on the Amazon River.
I've seen some pretty big peacock bass coming out of Florida, but you're right, not as big as down in the on the Amazon. But that would still be, you know, a dream of mine. Like one of my top of my bucket list would be giant trevally GTs, giant GTs. But I'd have to go halfway around the world to catch those, and I don't have that kind of Chad Fields money to do that. So Ernie Brown says most ranches make sure you get what you are hunting for because they want the money and they want you to come back. That's true, Ernie, but any fishing guide, you think they're out there every day keeping up on what the fish are doing because they don't want their clients not to catch fish? A lot of the charters here on Lake Michigan, they'll give you your money back if you don't catch fish. So they guarantee you get on them. So
wow. That's pretty good.
I don't see a difference on that. So rolling through the chat here real quick. Let's see. Brian B is complaining here. Remember, you should attach those complaints to super chats, Brian B. He says, I'll let it slide this time, though. Is this a fishing channel or a hunting channel? We all know Mark can't hunt a deer.
Wow.
Well, that's what Jody says. Well, what does Jody know? Just because she hits them with her truck doesn't mean she knows how to hunt them.
Oh, man. Greg, I understand completely. I really do. I just got to the point where it wasn't as much fun. I will say, and I think I've told you this before, Mark, that I learned to text in a deer blind. My son would text me stuff, and I'd fumble around with that damn phone trying to text. And half the time he couldn't read what I was doing, but that's how I learned to text because I never would do it. And of course, you trying to be quiet up there in that deer stand, and that's where I learned to text. But if it hadn't been for that, I probably still wouldn't be texting because I wouldn't even answer people when they text. If they want to talk to me, they call me. But it's become a way of life now for all of us.
No, nobody likes to talk on the phone anymore. Nobody.
My son, Mark, will not. He rarely ever calls. Just, I mean, something's got to be going on for him to call you. He don't even call. He don't even text me or call me on my birthday. He texts me. It is. That's
not nice.
That's the way he lives. I mean, it's a texting world.
Josh says it's ethically questionable, but they invest time and money into selective breeding trophy class deer.
I got to share this one. I know you haven't got to it yet.
All right, what's it say?
Troy says Mark is starting a new channel called the Hungry Old Hunter.
If it doesn't pick up, Troy might be right.
Well, from the looks of that deer cam and where you told me that you put it, I think that you're going to be seeing a lot more.
Mark Barnum says, buy a doe tag. You can't eat the horns.
He's correct about that.
That's why I get an either gender one. This way, if one with horns comes by, I can shoot that sucker too.
Yep. Yep. The younger they are, within reason. I've seen guys kill ones. They must have been hellacious shot because them deer wasn't as big around as a cartridge was. Little bitty babies. There ain't enough meat on them to waste your shell for. You need to get a 1.5-year old deer, and you get a doe, and I think they're better eating. I don't know if they are or not, but a young forkhorn or a spike or something like that, a year or so, year and a half old, they're good eating too. But them old bucks get tough. I mean, and they're all swelled up from doing their business, and they're just They're just not as good as
I just saw a short about that yesterday, Lyle, where what they did is they took two deer. One was a youngin, right? A young doe, and one was an older buck. And they butchered them up and they got the back strap out of them and they sliced them nice and thin. And they tried a bunch of people try them raw without telling them which one was which. And the majority of them preferred the old deer. Can you believe that?
Really?
That's the result they got. It. Whether or not it was a true result, I don't know. What's going on, Jerry Parker? I was just talking you up, buddy. Thank you for giving me all the advice. And look at this. Jerry Parker says, Brian B is my favorite. Oh, I can't read that. Jerry says, hog hunting is a blast. Chrissy says, no sportsmanship in her opinion. And look at this. Parker says, high fence hunting should be illegal.
As long as them guys own 1 million acres at a spot, a section of ground, a section of land is 660 acres, 1 mile square. And when you get guys that owns 1 million acres and leases another 500,000 acres, how in the hell do they ever pay for that? Just think about that for a minute.
There's a lot. Look at some of the boats that are out there, Lyle. Let's not even start.
I know.
There's people out there got $1 million, like those sport fishing boats, they cost you a trip for 5 days. It costs you 40 grand on those suckers. People got money and they got lots of it. God bless them though. This is America.
Yeah, that's right. You know what?
Don't lie, cheat, and steal to get it. We won't get into all of that, but
I have a dream about boat too, and it has nothing to do with the boat. Is one of them little bitty ones that got them race engines on the back where they go through them courses. I'd like to put Dockery up on the front of that thing to tell me which way to turn so I could throw his ass off in the water.
Those little Australian jet boats you're talking about, right?
Yeah, they're fast, ain't they? Wow, them are fun to watch.
What's going on, Rowdy? Rowdy's asking, Parker, have you ever tried spear hunting for hogs? It can get intense. Wow.
What's his name done that? I can't remember what his
name
name
Wells.
Tim Wells.
Tim Wells has killed water buffalo like that. He's killed everything.
He did with the blowguns and
yeah, that makes. He's got a big property here just south of Peoria over by Powerton, Lake Powerton, and he pulls some trophies off of his land. It's pretty crazy. But if you get a chance to watch him, I think he goes by the Slock Master on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure if you enter in Tim Wells, a whole bunch of stuff. But I really enjoy watching.
Daughter that's making videos too.
He does for a Barstool here, located in Chicago. Barstool Outdoors. She fished with my buddy Eric B, who was on my show a couple of times. He knows that whole gang over there, so he's involved with some of that stuff too.
She went down there down south, and with that lady, what's her name, Parvin, that raises them giant bluegill and fished in her pond with her. I watched that one.
That's Sarah Parvin on Instagram, folks. Yeah. Look her up. It's her dad's bluegill pond that she helps him raise and breed those monster bluegill over there. That's a cool Instagram page to follow. 100%. Yeah. I tried getting her on my podcast, Lyle, and she just all out says, "No, I don't do that stuff. Sorry." Pretty much. So,
because she's a very knowledgeable woman. I think about her raising them giant ones down there and breeding however you breed fish to get that size. And then you go to Arizona on Lake Havasu and they grow that size naturally. What's the difference? There's something in that water down there that Lake Havasu's got 3-pound bluegill. I mean, and they don't, it's a big lake. So they just naturally get that big there.
Matt says, Meat Eater has gone off the rails. Have you seen the price of his camo and clothesline? He said he would keep everything for the modern hunter, but now he sells pants for $250. I hate to tell you, Matt, but everything I've been looking at, the prices are pretty crazy. Look at rain gear for fishing. You can't get a good rain gear for fishing for under like $500 from Bass Pro Shop, to be honest with you. They're really proud of that gear, that's for sure.
Can I say why that is?
Sure.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Well, people will pay it. It's been like that for a while now. You got brands like Sitka and First Light. I was watching some deer meat for dinner videos like last week, and he had a deal with is it Moultrie? Is that the name of the brand? And he was providing some cheaper stuff that way. I fish. Lyle, I hunt out of a blind, and I'm thinking it's dark in that blind. If I'm wearing black clothes, they're not going to see me in that blind.
That's right.
So, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. Now, if I ever go to turkey hunting, we're going to go over to Farm and Fleet. I'm going to get one of those cheap ghillie suits and use one of them bad boys and be done with it, I think.
I have a question for you about your blind. Is it just a pop-up blind?
It's a pop-up. It's a little bit, I bought a little larger one this time, but it's one of those see-through ones. So you can see through it. They still block the wind, believe it or not.
Sure.
And they're real comfortable to be in. So it isn't too bad.
Any brush around it or on it
you know what? The spot I'm in now, I don't need to because I put it like right in the middle of a brush pile. The grass like grows all the way up to the windows, and the back of it's up against a 6-foot pile brush of deadwood. So it's hidden pretty good.
Okay.
So this next move, I'm going to have to brush it in somehow. It should be interesting with the snow on the ground. So,
yep.
There's that comment from Troy. Boy, I'm behind on the comments. We're going to have to do a part 2 to tonight's show next week, Lyle. We don't have to think of a topic. So
yeah, we just go again with what we started doing here. Because we have never got off on the topic.
We did. Well, we got a lot of people that like to hunt here and chat, and they're taking part in it. So,
if they're taking part in chat, they appreciate what we're doing. So that works for me.
Greg says, Mark, if I go turkey hunting, I'm going to Walmart. Here's the funny thing, Lyle. I'd like to go turkey hunting. I'm not really the biggest turkey fan, but I'd like to try it.
Everybody makes such a big deal out of how hard it is to hunt turkey. To me, that's one of the easiest animals on God's green earth to hunt. They got the brain the size of a pea. So how intelligent can they really be? They're scared of everything.
Well, that's the thing. They're scared of everything, and they can see really well is what I am.
They do have good eyesight, but I've killed. We'll talk later.
Okay. We'll talk after the show. Let's see what Matt says. Matt says you have to go ninja mode when in the blind, that's for sure.
We had a turkey one time. Jack, his son Jackie, who's now retired from the military, lives in Alaska. He took off from school, and my brother and Jack and Jackie and I all went out turkey hunting. Mark and Jack went one spot, and I went the other spot, and we met up about the time Jackie needed to be going to school that morning. And he was a senior in high school. And lo and behold, out walking across this field was a turkey, a bearded turkey. So I told Jackie, I said, I'll tell you what, your dad and Mark will stay up here. You and I will go through that draw. We'll sneak up on that bird, and one of the two groups will get a shot at it. And I said, now, if it takes off, you shoot at that bird. But if you miss, I'm going to knock its, We snuck up on that thing, and it flew up, and boom, boom, boom. He never hit it. I killed it, and it was a bearded hen. A bearded hen. And that's the only one that I'd heard about them, but I'd never seen.
I don't think you wanted to admit that here, Lyle.
No, it's not. It's legal to kill them. If
it is.
Yeah, you don't know that. If it's got a beard, it's legal, or at least it was those days. Because in those days you had to take them and check them in like you used to have to check in deer. So we took it in there, and that's the game board was standing there, and he's the one that said you killed a bearded hen. I said, well, how you figure? He said, because it's a hen. I said, okay. I said, am I in trouble? He said, no, it's legal. It's got a beard. It's legal. So,
my bad.
Yeah.
It's one of the. We're not going to get in. I'm not going to say that. It'll get your show in trouble. Lance McCook says, "Has anyone ever hunted out of a big round bale of hay?"
Yes,
it's the best blind I've hunted out of. They actually sell those too. They sell big phone.
They do. I've seen them. They're awesome blinds. And I'll tell you something else you can do. You can roll 4 of them up and just leave an area where you can get in between them. And you go in there and the wind's away from you. You just pop up and look around once in a while, sit back down. And you can roll them things. One guy can roll a bale of hay around.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lyle, we've been on for a little over an hour. We didn't really talk about the topics we wanted to talk about. So we're going to do part 2 next week, folks.
To be continued.
That's if I don't freeze to death between them and now. And hopefully I'll have good news for y'all. So I want to wish everybody a happy week. Have a good time. Keep the people that we mentioned earlier, keep Heather in your prayers for sure. Make sure you keep mine and Lyle's friend's pet in your heart and your prayers for sure. We'd appreciate it. So everybody have a wonderful night. You got anything else to say, Lyle?
Be sure to tune back in next week. We'll get on subject.
All right, folks. I hope you had fun because we sure did. Have a great night.
See ya.
Bye-bye.